everyone. Hope everyone's doing okay. You had a good sleep. I'm looking forward to Monday because we've got this new setup, this new logic. So with the old, we would wait a period of time for the sentiment to distance sufficiently enough in order for us to get the signal. It was based on an 8% move between the bubbles. Now, what you could argue is that perhaps it was too long to wait, and you could argue that when we got the signal, the move had already been, which was the case, was quite often the case. So it also made the assumption that they were going to continue to be wrong, and it was going to go against them and punish them. But the trouble is, there was the good likelihood that they were going to exit. Obviously Ian being and drawdown, they thought, well, okay, I am going to have a bit of risk management. I'm going to exit, or I'm going to hedge. And now we didn't take into the assumption that they were going to use risk management, and so we were left. We were left with a bit of uncertainty with the old setup, because what if they didn't hold on to their losses? What if they exited, or they hedged, or we didn't know. And so by the time we got the signal, we had that uncertainty of them having okay risk management, and also the very good technical assumption that we've probably done the range. We've had the move. When you think the Euro USD is an ADR of like 80 pips, if we got our signal at 70 pips, it's not really that great, because 10 pips isn't really going to make you a lot of money. So by not waiting with these new signals, we're going to capture the move nice and early. We won't have that uncertainty of them exiting, and we won't be exceeding a range, the daily range as well. There's no way that this is going to exceed the daily range. This is like a 5 pip move, okay? And so we're going to have technical freedom for the move, and also we won't have to assume that they're going to hold on or not. It doesn't matter. That doesn't concern us. If we open early, they can hold on or not. It doesn't matter, because by the time this is moved to its ADR high, then we'd exit. You have to use a bit of technical analysis. Obviously, you need to look at your pivots and resistances and things like that, and supports. So even though we're going to get the no message to exit, or should I say the false message to exit, you still want to get some kind of target in mind. If you've made 70 pips, that's a decent result, to be honest. So before we would wait 8%. Now we're going to wait a very, very small amount of time. It's going to be 2%. Okay, so we're going to get much earlier on, and so we're going to not exceed the range. We're not going to have that uncertainty of them holding on or not. Really, you could argue Forex is a liquidity hunt, so once it's taken the stops, we can reverse. So it can keep going to punish them, but there's the good chance that it won't. It just wants to take the SLC above, and that's it. Then it's job done, isn't it? That's the job done from the the big fish. We've taken your stops. Okay, we're down. We're going to go, and that's also a very likely scenario. What was happening? So we would enter here. Not much room, probably get some liquidity, and then it'll go against us. With this, we're not going to get the liquidity. We haven't exceeded the range. We're not going to gamble with the uncertainty about them being trapped. The old method was basically assume that they're going to hold on to losses, which normally happens to be honest, most of the time. But this doesn't concern us. We're just going to open nice and early, and then we'll have a lot of freedom to make profits. Now there was 2 extra bits that we take into account. We're going to check the VIX, we're going to check the SSI, whether or not we're risk on or risk off, That's calculated from retail herd sentiment, if they're net long or net short, and the VIX is calculating using the 52-week midpoint, which is 26.5, and we don't want the VIX above that. If we do, then it's going to mean risk off, because we're above like the yearly pivot. And lastly, before I wrap up, we don't take into account this, and we don't take into account that. We just look at bubble deviation. Now, why aren't we looking at oversold, overbought? Look at your cross-yen. Oops. Oh, come on. Right. What happened? We had like things like CAD yen, for example, and we were 90% short, but yet we carried on and on and on and on, and it didn't actually respect that rule at all. Even though we shouldn't have continued to punish the retail guys, we did, and it carried on and it carried on and it carried on, and it's still carrying on today. Even though you know, these guys have been absolutely squished, price is going to punish them. Before, we wouldn't have opened that cross-yen trade because we were, you know, overbought. But we can see from looking at the CAD yen, for example, I think we're 95% short. 5% of people are long, but yet we're going up, so it's really destroying the cross-yen, the yen traders. So we don't take into that account, and we don't take that into account whether or not it's a buy or a sell at the high level. We just simply look at the bubble deviation across time, and so we would have missed a lot of opportunities on cross-yen, and you saw how that absolutely ripped as well. So we will be looking at cross-yen for these as well, and cross dollar too. So that's that logic. Hopefully it's clear. If you need me to explain anything, I won't mind at all. And basically the summary is that we get in nice and early, and we've taken out a lot of the uncertainty, the liquidity, likelihood, the probe of the stops. We've taken out the range gamble, and we've taken out the fact that they might hold into losses or might not. That doesn't concern us. This won't concern us. This won't concern us. So this is the technical sentiment and their risk management. We would assume that they would have terrible risk management, which they do, but what if they don't? Once if they just like suddenly think, well, okay, I'm out, I don't really want to be in drawdown this much, I'm out. But if they think of that collectively as a mass, it's going to impact that. So that's the old logic. These new ones are going to be amazing. And not only do we have a new setup where we get in nice and early, we've got prices signals as well, and we can check the performance each hour, and we see how we do. So yeah, have a great Easter, and I'll see you Monday late morning, and any feedback would be great. If you think this is a good idea, we can implement some of these checks if you wanted me to. We can do this, it's not a problem. But I think this new setup is going to be absolutely fantastic, especially getting in nice and early as well. So it might pay just to wake up a little bit earlier just to check, and we'll see how we go. So that should make sense now, hopefully, and have a good Easter, and I'll see you later.